Wow, it has taken me quite a while to sit down and record this video, as DJI AirWorks was like 2 months ago, but nonetheless, I still wanted to discuss some of the things that I saw while I was there at the conference, specifically 3 different areas that I think are really going to help fuel and progress the commercial drone industry as a whole. So the first was the DJI Dock, which was basically the flagship launch at this conference. The next is some awesome accessories that CZI is making for DJI's Enterprise drones, which will further enhance their abilities. Finally, DJI showed off their new Agras T40, which is one of the absolute biggest drones that I have gotten to see. This beast is of course used for agriculture. Okay, so kicking things off with the DJI Dock, this is basically an enclosure that houses the drone. It sits there waiting to be deployed for an autonomous mission. At the conference, DJI displayed the dock in full working fashion, so the roof or arms of the dock would begin to open up, unveiling the Matrice 30. From here, the drone would boot up, the planned mission would be uploaded, pre-flight systems would be underway, and once it's all set, it would autonomously take off and embark on its flight plan. Once completed, the drone would make its way back to the dock, land, and it would close up to protect the aircraft from the elements. So that right there is like a very general understanding of what the DJI Dock does, right? It spits out the drone, it runs an autonomous mission, and then it lands and protects that drone. Even though it seems very simple, it's not. There's a lot of small moving parts that goes into making something like this work and work properly. For example, and perhaps the biggest hurdle, we were flying a mission around the Mirage in Las Vegas with plenty of people around to monitor the drone, but this dock is meant to be deployed in remote locations to alleviate the need for humans to manually fly the drone. Like showing up somewhere and taking off from the dock manually kind of defeated the purpose. That hurdle though is the FAA, which doesn't allow flight beyond a visual line of sight, so you would technically need to be there with the drone while it flies, making the idea of using this thing kind of pointless. So regulation is definitely the thing that needs to catch up for something like this, a platform like DJI's Dock, to actually work and be effective to its fullest potential. But there's also a lot of small, finite details that DJI needed to be accountable for to make sure that this thing worked. For example, in order to charge the drone, small pushers on the base of the dock move the aircraft into position so that it can fill its batteries for another mission. There's a weather station and lights for when the drone is being used, say during inclement weather or in low light scenarios. In case of high winds where the drone can't land inside of the dock safely, a backup home point is established so the drone can come down safely. The dock utilizes a cellular connection to remotely access the drone. There's just so many little nuances that DJI had to account for when creating this enclosure, and I think that after making their first version, they'll be able to learn a lot about how to improve future versions for other drones. Like for example, I do a lot of stockpile measurements for construction, mulch, and development companies, and sometimes I'm visiting their site 2 to 3 times per week just because they need me there measuring new topsoil piles that they've made to, say, spread around a warehouse or spread around a new development of houses. And I would love to be able to take one of these docks, put it on site, and be able to remotely deploy the drone so that it can go and map out the area, upload those images, and I never have to actually be there or intervene in order to get data for my clients. It would make things a lot easier because I could deliver them information a lot faster than, say, having to schedule it, put it on my calendar and go. And also it'd make it a lot easier because I don't have to physically go. The drone would do all the work for me. That is like the future right there. Now, with my time utilizing DJI's enterprise drones over the years, like the Mavic Enterprise line and the Matrice series, I've come to realize something that makes them so powerful, and it's the integration of different payloads and modules, both first party, so from DJI, and from third party manufacturers. One of those accessory manufacturers is called CZI. Yes, I know CZI sounds like DJI, but they're a third party and they're really pushing the boundaries in terms of what modules and payloads can be made for drones like the M30 and even the M300 and even the smaller Mavic 3 Enterprise. For example, at AirWorks, they had on display different payloads from lights to speakers, even to a microphone that could be attached to a Mavic 3 Enterprise that had a boom arm. All of these payloads come in various designs and sizes to meet the needs of what you need as a pilot. What's great is that through DJI's SDK, all of these different attachments integrate directly with the Pilot companion app that you use to fly your DJI drone. So you're able to, say, change the brightness of your spotlight, or you can change the pitch of the spotlight, or you can speak through the speaker or play different sounds. There's so many different things that you can do, and they directly integrate with DJI's drones through that companion app. So it's almost like DJI makes these products, right? So it's built right in, the integration is there, and that's what makes it seamless. I'd say by far the craziest biggest attachment was that microphone. Again, it was like on a boom arm, so you could actually hear and listen to what somebody was saying if you put the drone near them. It almost looked like one of those fish that live super deep down in the sea that have the lanterns, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it looks just like that, but I'd love to be able to get one of those, test it, and see exactly how it works, because I could see it being very helpful, especially in search and rescue missions. Now, the final thing that I want to touch on is the Agras T40, which is DJI's newest flagship agriculture drone, and this thing is huge. Like I said, one of the biggest drones I've seen with propellers that are bigger than my arms. I personally have zero experience using spraying drones in the agriculture industry. I have, however, done like crop monitoring and stand counts using Drone Deploy with, like, say, my Phantom 4 Pro, but again, never actually using these spraying drones. But I do have something very, very fun coming up in February. I'm gonna get a chance to travel down and meet up with one of my good friends in the Dominican to check out the Agras T40, and I'm also going with Ken, and I already cannot wait to put that video together for you guys. Now, I really want to save a more in-depth look at this drone for when I actually get a chance to see it in action, but just to cover some of the highlights, the twin rotor design with motors on top and bottom allow it to carry a heavier payload for more efficient spraying missions. This boosts the maximum payload capacity for material to 110 pounds or 50 kilograms. The massive 30,000 milliamp hour battery powers this entire drone and is charged through a massive docking station. I mean, these batteries are literally as big as my head. I really can't wait to get some more experience in the ag industry within the drone industry. I mean, really, to the extent of what I've done is just like aerial photography, videography, inspections, things of that nature. But I feel like spraying crops is on like an entirely different level. And again, I cannot wait to put that video together for you guys, showing off the T40 and everything that it's capable of, because it's going to be like my first experience as well. It's going to be a really, really cool video. Anyway, those were the 3 things that I saw from DJI AirWorks that personally stood out to me. Again, I think that they were, I'd say, the most important that I saw, but there were plenty of great things to see there, like the Skybrowse team, the Drone Deploy team. There were just a lot of really good people there to meet up with and see how they're developing new technology to utilize DJI's drones to their fullest. Because at the end of the day, DJI can make good drones, but it's these other platforms like CZI and like Skybrowse that can come together to make them even more powerful. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on AirWorks, if you caught any other videos or any other blogs down in the comment section below. And as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.